Free agency is moving quickly, and it seems the Raiders are taking a slow but calculated approach. So far, we haven't seen them make any big money moves. They've made a few signings and have addressed their quarterback situation by bringing in Geno Smith. There's been a lot of confusion surrounding this deal, and I can understand why. It hasn't been explained clearly. I'll break it down and try to make sense of why the situation might not be as pressing as it appears. On top of that, the Raiders made a solid move yesterday by signing a running back. Let's dive into the details. What's up, buddies? Welcome back. If you are new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We cover all AFC West news here on this channel. The Raiders have made a mix of moves so far, re-signing some of their own players, addressing pending free agents, and extending Maxx Crosby. They've also brought in a few additions, including a safety, a linebacker, and a guard. Overall, they haven't been heavy spenders, but I'm okay with the approach they've taken up to this point. One standout move they made recently was signing running back Raheem Mostert. He's a player with a lot of upside and potential. Yes, he's 33 years old, which is considered quite old for a running back. However, Mostert is unique. Earlier in his career, he was primarily a special teams player and didn't get many carries, but he had a late breakout with the 49ers, found success, and later joined the Dolphins. In 2023, he recorded an impressive 21 total touchdowns. While his playing time was more limited in 2024, he's still a solid addition to the Raiders roster. For the Raiders, signing Raheem Mostert to a one-year deal at $1.2 million is an excellent value move. John Spytek continues his trend of avoiding big spending while bringing in players on value-based contracts. Mostert isn't expected to be the sole running back for the Raiders this season. The team already has Zamir White and a few other younger players under contract, mostly on rookie deals. Mostert will bring veteran experience to the running back room, and his signing doesn't rule out the Raiders drafting a running back this year. In fact, it seems like the Raiders' strategy for the season is to use Mostert as the number 2 back while bringing in a rookie. The offense will likely emphasize heavy doses of outside zone runs, something Chip Kelly is expected to lean on. Mostert is a great fit for this scheme, as he's thrived in similar systems under Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDaniel. Outside zone concepts differ significantly from inside zone runs in terms of angles, reads, and execution, which suits Mostert's skill set. He's not the type of player who thrives on inside power runs or taking heavy hits, but he excels in the open space created by outside zone plays. This low-risk, high-upside contract makes sense for the Raiders. While Mostert isn't expected to be a 1,500-yard rusher, he can be effective with limited touches. If he gets 75 touches over the season, around 5 to 6 per game, his explosiveness could easily translate to 50 yards or more in a single game. That kind of efficiency and big play potential adds value to the team. Of course, Mostert's age and wear are considerations, and some believe he's already begun to decline. However, he still brings experience and can help mentor younger backs like Zamir White. Mostert's journey from being a late bloomer to finding success later in his career could provide valuable guidance for these younger players. Looking ahead, it's smart for the Raiders to prioritize drafting at least one running back, if not two. This year's draft class features around 15 quality backs. While the top 3 or 4 are elite feature backs like Nick Chubb, Christian McCaffrey, or Saquon Barkley, there's a solid group of 10 others who can be productive backups or RB2s. Mostert could serve in a similar role as he did for Devon Achane, providing a complementary presence in the backfield. A lot of fans are talking about Ashton Genie, and while he's a standout player, the question remains, should the Raiders take him at pick 6? Realistically, they have options beyond that pick. RJ Harvey or Caleb Johnson might be available in the 2nd or 3rd rounds, making them viable options. But taking a running back as high as pick 6 comes with significant consideration. Running backs inherently have shorter careers, typically 5 to 8 years, compared to other positions. For example, drafting a right tackle at pick 6 could result in a player who might contribute for 15 years if he's a high-level talent. That long-term value makes positions like tackle, cornerback, or defensive end more appealing early in the draft. However, if the draft unfolds in a way where the top wide receivers, offensive tackle, cornerback, and defensive end are off the board, and a running back like Ginty is the best remaining player, it might make sense. This year's draft class is unique, though, with a mix of top-end talent and a lot of players who might be better suited for later first-round picks, like pick 18, 20, or 25. With such depth, the Raiders' 2nd and 3rd round picks gain even more value. They have the potential to grab 3 legitimate starters in their first 3 picks, whether it's a running back, guard, tackle, defensive end, or wide receiver. Okay, now moving to Geno Smith's contract. This has been the hot topic, with plenty of DMs coming in about it. It all stems from a report earlier in the week by Tashan Reed, who mentioned that Geno should receive a contract extension this week. Here's the breakdown. Geno is entering the final year of a 3-year extension he signed with Seattle in 2023. While there's no guaranteed money left on the deal, he's due a $16 million roster bonus on Sunday. That's been called an artificial deadline for the Raiders to potentially restructure his 2025 cap hit, which currently sits at $31 million. So let's clear this up. The $16 million roster bonus becomes available today. It doesn't mean Geno's bank account is getting that deposit right now. It's based on escalators in his contract, which include performance markers like passing yards, completion percentage, and wins. For instance, Geno hit several of these benchmarks, adding an extra $6 million to his total. Now, if the Raiders want to lower his $31 million cap hit for 2025, they could still work out an extension. However, the current sense is that the Raiders are comfortable with the $31 million cap hit for this year. And honestly, for a quarterback of Geno's caliber, that's a solid value when you compare it to what other teams are paying for their QBs. For example, Justin Fields' deal with the Jets includes $30 million guaranteed. The Raiders seem to be playing it safe financially, which is a smart move for their long-term strategy. Here's another important note. Even though today's roster bonus is $16 million, the Raiders could convert a portion of that into a signing bonus to help manage the cap. This flexibility is key to the team's financial strategy. The salary cap is complex, but ultimately, the Raiders are focused on building a sustainable future. They're trying to clean up financial messes left by previous regimes and ensure they aren't stuck with dead money years down the road. Speaking of dead money, the Raiders currently have $44.2 million in dead cap, which ranks 8th highest in the NFL. That's a lot of financial baggage, but they're being smart about their spending to set themselves up for success in the next 2 to 3 years. It's all about building a foundation that works both now and in the future. Now let's talk about team needs. The Raiders still have the 7th most cap space in the NFL, even with Geno's $31 million hit. That means there's room to make moves. First up is wide receiver. The team could use at least one veteran addition, and I wouldn't be surprised if they added another through the draft. While players like Jacoby Myers and Trey Tucker are on the roster, there's still uncertainty around their roles. A proven vet and a draft pick could help solidify this group. Second on the list is offensive tackle. While DJ Glaze has potential, the offensive line's importance can't be overstated. Protecting Geno Smith and establishing a strong running game are critical for this team's success. If they're going to upgrade at tackle, I think it's likely going to happen in the draft. I'd expect that to be a focus in one of the first 3 picks. On top of that, I wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders trade back to accumulate more picks. Free safety is another position they need to address. Missing out on Trevon Moehrig is a loss, but we'll get compensatory picks for it, and smart teams know how to use those to rebuild. The Raiders have shown that approach with their spending this offseason, focusing on long-term strategy. Still, free safety remains a need. They're reportedly high on Xavier Watts from Notre Dame and meeting with an athletic prospect from South Carolina, Nick Emenwari. He's a freak athlete, but not a true coverage safety. He might fit a hybrid linebacker safety role similar to what we hoped Tanner Muse or Divine Diablo could develop into. Running back is another position of need, but I'd rather address that in the draft than free agency. At cornerback, the addition of Eric Stokes is promising. He brings competition to a young group that already includes Cameron Richardson, Jacorian Bennett, and Jack Jones. While adding a veteran corner in free agency wouldn't hurt, it seems the coaching staff believes in developing the talent they already have. Now, looking at the free agency moves so far, let's break down the grades. Alex Kappa got a 2-year, $11 million deal. I gave that a D. He's coming off his worst year, and while the staff trusts him, I don't see this as a strong move. On the other hand, the trade for Geno Smith, acquiring him for a 3rd-round pick, is a B+. Geno is arguably the best realistic quarterback option for this team right now, better than names like Aaron Rodgers or Sam Darnold. If they lock him in on a $40 million deal, that grade might even go up. Bringing back Adam Butler on a 3-year, $16 million deal was an A+ move. He's a key piece for this team's success in the trenches. Jeremy Chinn's 2-year, $16 million deal gets an A-. He's a hard-hitting safety who can also play a hybrid linebacker role. Malcolm Kuntz on a 1-year, $12 million deal also earns an A. He's a solid edge player with great value. Some other moves were less impactful. Elandon Roberts, at 1 year and $3 million, gets a B. Roberts is a strong leader and a team captain candidate, but has coverage limitation. Eric Stokes' 1-year, $4 million deal earns a B-. He adds depth and competition at cornerback. Finally, Raheem Mostert's deal is a C+. He still has home run speed, but the team needs more threats at wide receiver to fully maximize his impact. Overall, I'd grade the Raiders' free agency so far as a B. This team is better now than it was at the end of last season, primarily due to the quarterback upgrade and some smart re-signings. That said, I'd like to see them make a few more moves, with the cap space they have remaining, about $47 to $48 million. So, what do you think? Share your thoughts in the comment section.